Barbados begins talks with the International Monetary Fund. That's our top story in your Barbados Today Evening News Update, today Tuesday, June 5. Thanks for joining us. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Prime Minister Mia Mottley got down to business with a team from the International Monetary Fund, which arrived here today to hammer out a plan to bail out the ailing Barbados economy. In a brief post on her Facebook page, the Prime Minister confirmed she met with the mission headed by Bert Van Selm and promised to provide more information later. The IMF team is set to hold talks with Governor of the Central Bank, Cliviston Haynes, and representatives from the private sector and the labor movement. Meanwhile, government also announced today that it has appointed White Oak Advisory Limited to act as its financial advisor in the debt restructuring process. Last Friday, Prime Minister Mia Mottley said that the government would be suspending its debt payments. White Oak has established initial contact with affected creditors and is expected to begin engaging them on the basis of the medium-term macroeconomic projections to be finalized by the government in the coming weeks. In other news, Bridgetown was transformed into a spectacle this morning as scores gathered to take in the pomp and pageantry of the ceremonial opening of Parliament. As the Royal Barbados Police Force and the Barbados Defence Force stood on display in National Heroes Square, the country's new parliamentarians, senators, dignitaries, representatives from key sectors and other officials decked out to the nines and made their way to the House of Assembly for the grand occasion. Governor-General Dame Sandra Mason outlined a wide-ranging agenda to move the Barbados economy from stagnation to transformation, while reiterating some of the BLP's manifesto's plans to abolish the National Social Responsibility Levy, road tax, and reduce the value-added tax from 17% to 15%. Dame Sandra said her new government plans to create new high-quality jobs and encourage new activity and investment by establishing 6 special economic zones.
It will move immediately to make Heritage Bridgetown a smart and creative city and put in place all that is required to facilitate its conversion. This will be a precursor to Barbados becoming a smart country. It will also designate and promote Bridgetown as a heritage, artistic and culinary center, Whole Town as a tourism and entertainment center, St. Lawrence Gap as an entertainment district, Oistins as the epicenter of Barbados' fishing industry, and 6 Roads as the premier industrial corridor.
The new government is also promising to be tough on crime. In addition to introducing proactive policing and community outreach policies, Dame Sandra announced that there will be a gun amnesty program.
In addition, my government will encourage a close partnership among the church, community groups, and government agencies responsible for social services to reduce gun violence and support safe communities. It will offer a 6-month gun amnesty and buyback program for legal and illegal firearms to reduce their numbers in the hands of civilians and in communities.
The government is also set to embark on an ambitious legislative agenda.
Priorities will include integrity and freedom of information bills, legislation to prevent the indiscriminate printing of money by the central bank, the enactment by December 2018 of a legislative framework that will remove Barbados from the list of uncooperative jurisdictions and from the threat of sanctions by the OECD and the EU, an updated Procurement Act, the establishment of special economic zones, a Clean Air Act, equal pay, paternity leave.
In other news, one man was injured in a shootout with police at Maxwell Plains, Christchurch around 11:30 a.m. Police Public Relations Officer, Acting Inspector Rodney Innes, updated reporters at the scene.
Police were carrying out investigations into a report and they were approaching a resident to make some inquiries. Whilst doing that, they heard a number of loud explosions from the direction of a group of young persons who were laymen in the area. They ran for cover naturally near another residence. A motor car they then heard started and quickly reversed. The police officers returned to the roadway. The driver of the motor vehicle sped off towards them at a rather rapid speed and pulled the car in their direction. The police discharged a number of rounds at the vehicle to protect themselves. The driver of the motor car struck a parked motor lorry and came to a halt on the collision. Both vehicles, well, the motor car was extensively damaged and the lorry has some moderate damage. Police discovered the driver was injured. The ambulance was summoned and the driver was transported to Psychiatric Hospital via the ambulance under police escort.
Distressing and painful. That's how the Barbados Nurses Association has described a video on social media showing a nurse assaulting a patient at the psychiatric hospital. The nurse has been suspended. In a statement, President of the Nurses Association, Joanna Waterman, says her members are saddened by the terrible action. She praised the quick action taken by the Ministry of Health to deal with the matter. Waterman, however, assured that nurses at the Black Rock Hospital are highly trained and professional, and the association will be conducting training seminars to reinforce high professional standards. In sports, Cricket West Indies today announced that Sandals Resorts has agreed to a long-term contract to become the new principal partner and team sponsor for Windies following their support of last week's Hurricane Relief T20 Challenge at Lord's. The new partnership goes into effect immediately and will cover all Windies teams from under 15s through the Windies men's and women's team.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
Welcome back to Regional News. The Trinidad and Tobago Police Service reports that there were close to 1,700 cases of credit card and other card fraud in 2017 to a tune of 40.5 million TT dollars. A parliamentary committee has been examining a new cybercrime bill, and the American Chamber of Industry and Commerce is calling for the fines to be increased.
The fines for criminal activity or cyber criminal activity should be, in our opinion, sufficient to deter.
But what exactly is a suitable fine which will deter persons from committing cybercrime? Well, according to AmCham CEO Nirad Tiwari, definitely not the minimum 100,000 TT dollars as proposed in the bill. The CEO, a former journalist himself, said the chamber explicitly shared the Media Association's view that there should be immunity from penalties for persons who breach this law in pursuit of public interest.
And further afield, Hollywood film producer Harvey Weinstein has formally pleaded not guilty to rape and sexual assault charges. His appearance in a New York Supreme Court today came after he was indicted last week by a grand jury. Weinstein, who is 66 years old, has previously insisted via his lawyer that he has never had non-consensual sex. He could face up to 25 years in prison if convicted of the offense, which relates to 2 women. And on that note, we come to the end of our news and sports update. But for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media and bus terminals, as well as Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. to have a wonderful evening.